Hi, my name is Selema Masekela. I'll say it for you one more time. Selema Masekela. And you are listening to the What Shapes Us podcast. Welcome, friends, to another episode of the What Shapes Us podcast. My name is Selema Masekela. If this is your first time here, or if you're returning, this is the podcast that is essentially about the incidents and accidents that shape us into who we are as human beings. I enjoy having conversations with dynamic individuals to learn their path and journey. And today, we have a dynamic individual by the name of Victor Montalvo, aka B-Boy Victor. And if you're like, I've heard of this guy before, Mr. Montalvo has just won the first ever bronze medal in breakdancing at the Olympics. So I'm actually sitting with a real life NBD, never been done before, Olympic medalist.
Yes.
That's you, right?
Yes.
Besides that, you have won the prestigious BC1 breakdancing competition, not once but twice. You've won pretty much everything that there is to win within the culture of breakdancing. You have been called the best competitor in the history of breakdancing by your peers, which is dope. It's one thing when the critics are calling you that, but when your peers say that about you, it's pretty powerful. So I'm just really excited to have you here today, man.
Because thank you so much.
Yeah.
For sure.
We met the first time in the desert in Palm Springs. We were doing an activation for Red Bull, man. And I just remember the time that we got to spend together. I was like, oh, this cat is interesting, man. This is a very interesting dude who's had a unique journey. You were born in a place called Kissimmee, Florida. Am I right?
Kissimmee. Well, I was born in Orlando, but raised in Kissimmee.
Okay. What's the proximity?
It's only like 20 minutes away.
Okay.
30 minutes away. I'm like right in the outskirts of Orlando, going towards Miami.
Yeah.
Was
your life like in Kissimmee? Because I imagine it's a lot different than what it is today.
It was pretty wild. Yeah, we were wild kids, and I was always hanging around older people. So most of my friends, I was always around my cousin, which is like 5 years older than me, my older brother, which is 8 years older than me, like 7 years older than me. And I would always hang out with their friends, and they were going to parties, and we'll go to all these parties. We'll start dancing and doing all sorts of stuff that you do when you're younger. And it was fun. I'm Mexican, full Mexican, and I was born in Kissimmee, which is like a big Puerto Rican community. So I was like born around like a lot of Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Colombians.
And for people who may not understand, like Mexicans and then like Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, it's two different ends of the Spanish speaking spectrum. Like culturally,
two different cultures.
Different. Like everybody they speak Spanish. Yeah. But talk about some of the differences, because your parents came from Pueblo, right?
From Puebla, yeah. So they came from Mexico City. Mm-hmm. Well, it's right next to Mexico City. My mom's actually from Juarez, which is not too far from the border. So her city is really dangerous. They left out of there, and for some reason, we usually go to like California, like west.
Right.
But for some reason, they decided to go, down south, east, south.
Southeast, yeah.
And Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, like their Spanish is hard to understand. It's really hard to understand. They speak much faster, and they cut the words shorter.
Right, and
so their sentences are faster, and we speak slower. Yeah, a bit slower, super chill, But I've gotten accustomed because I've been living in Kissimmee like all my life, so I like understand that culture. Those cultures. Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, which I love. We're always dancing. We're always like listening to good music. It's really lively.
Yeah. How old were you when you were born in Kissimmee?
No, born in Orlando. and I left to Kissimmee around the age of 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were some of the differences that you started learning? Because I'm sure, like in your household and family, you were living a Mexican
Yes.
upbringing, but then when you went outside in the world, you'd be like,
Yeah, I was literally the only Mexican kid in my school. Like it was me and a couple others. So the school was mostly like white, black, Puerto Rican.
hmm,
That's it. And I was like the only Mexican. And people were like, "Oh, we always thought you were Colombian or Puerto Rican." I'm like, "No, I'm straight up Mexican." They're like, "Oh, you look different. You know, you don't look like the usual Mexican." I'm like, "What?"
what does that
Okay.
even mean?
Yeah, I'm like, "Okay, cool, whatever." But yeah, it was different. And in my household, like all of my family, they came straight from Mexico to Orlando. So they made sure that I understood my roots and I understood where I come from and to be proud of like who I am,
Hmm,
being Mexican. So they made sure that we got to understand our culture and also speak it, because sometimes like the next generation ends up, not speaking the language, or they end up forgetting where they come from or
right.
their culture. So my family made sure we knew.
Carry that with you.
Yeah.
Have a sense of self.
Yes.
How did breakdancing become your thing, or did you have other options? Were there other sports or things that you were playing?
So I haven't told anyone this, but I used to do track and field. So I used to do a lot of track and field. I was a really good long distance runner. Short distance I was trash, but long distance I was really good at that. And I used to do the long jump,
Mm-hmm.
right? No, the one over the pole jumping, right?
Yeah. Pole jump.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, the
not
high
that
jump.
one. Yeah, yeah, the
High
high
jump.
jump. So I did the high jump. I did what else? I did a whole bunch of other things. But yeah, I was into track and field at first, so I was super athletic from the beginning. And then I got into breaking because my cousin got back into breaking. One of his friends wanted to learn, so he started teaching him, and that's when my cousin got me into breaking. And it's like, oh, this is perfect. I'm athletic and I love challenges. So breaking was so hard to do and so challenging, and I'm like really hard headed, so it was perfect for me. I'm like, no, I gotta get this move, and just like it gave me a lot of motivation.
What did you when you look back, like what drew you to it? Like what were the challenges that you were like, okay, I need to do that?
You know what drew me into it? I remember my room was right next to my cousin's room, and he would always have this noise in his room. It was always noisy music, and I was a big like video gamer,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember he just comes into my room. He's like, "Yo, Vic, let me show you something," and I go into his room and I see like he had a couch that he used to sleep on. He like lifted it up to the wall, and then there was carpet and then cardboard on top. He had this little TV of like some dude breaking, doing head spins. I'm like, yo, and then you hear the music, you listening to the music and you go into this like this different vibe, that is super vibrant and fun. And I was just there like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like what's going on here? And he started teaching me the windmill, which was one of the first moves I was learning, and I just couldn't get it, and I was getting frustrated. I'm like, yo, I just want to keep on doing it. Like this is fun.
I grew up in New York in the '80s, and breakdancing culture was like just happening when I was a kid. So I was like 11, 12 when like breaking exploded
Mm,
in the city. And so we would be outside, somebody would have a boombox, and you know, somebody would like either bring cardboard like you said, or you might have the one friend who like had the plug
like
for
linoleum,
linoleum,
yeah.
and be either in the hallway of our buildings or outside in the park where we used to play in the monkey bars, just dancing. And it's funny when you tell that windmill story, that was it for me. The first time I saw someone doing windmills nonstop,
Yeah.
and you're just like, wait, what? And then the first time I tried it, I remember like going up like this, and then bah, like my leg slamming the ground so hard, like wait, what? And not being able to get around, and then watching someone do it in tune with the music, and I was just like, okay,
Yeah, and they just make it look so easy, and you try and you're like, it's
yeah,
actually hard.
super, super, super
Yes.
hard.
Yes. Yeah, and that's something I love about breaking is just like making your movements look effortless into the music, and just like creating these like really these spontaneous moments, you know, that might not happen again. And those are the moments that we like experiencing, you know,
Mm.
like just like blacking out. You don't know what you're doing, but your body is just taking you on these like different, you know, ways, which is awesome.
You have to be present. You know, you're stepping into another world. Like the energy that takes place in a battle, and then the energy of the crowd, um, and the way they're tuning in and cheering, and then the energy of wherever the music's coming from, and then you, like you said, being able to like harness all that, and then tune in to like know what you're capable of, and then let it all go.
Yeah.
And it requires like what you do, like skateboarding, like snowboarding, like surfing, like so many of these other sports, that are individual and not team, but that require this like this artistic form of athletic expression where you have to be so in the moment to not just react but respond to
Yeah.
what's taking place.
Yeah. And think quick,
Yeah.
like the quickness, because anything can happen. So you gotta have like a plan B, plan C. You know, you just never know.
One of the things I love when I watch is each person is unique in that there is a language being spoken. Like you, it is personal expression. I wonder like what it is that you're trying to say in in your style and in how you dance.
What am I trying to say? I'm just trying to bring the roots of what breaking is all about. You know, like the essence of the dance, and just showing different character. You know, just being myself. So bringing my personality, but into breaking and looking different from the rest of the crowd, because that's what, you know, breaking is all about. And I'm sure skateboarding is the same. Skateboarding, snowboarding. That's why it's so similar, because it's all about style. Like style is endless, you know. And for us, it's the same. It's like it's all about style. It's all about being unique. It's all about bringing character.
You should be able to tell who it is that's doing the thing almost from afar.
Yes,
And like
like
when
from a silhouette, you
yeah,
know,
from
and
a,
you know exactly who they are. Like, oh no, that's this dude.
yeah, I had a chance to. I watched you dance on, on video and online for years, but getting to see you in Venice a few weeks ago at the Red Bull event, which was dope, and even that little moment that you came out to sort of take your victory tour, was powerful to watch you just like you weren't even battling, but you were just doing a demo before the final, and I watched you just black out, bro.
Yeah, I did the shortest round of my life.
It was the shortest round of your life, but you went all the
Yeah,
way
five
in.
second round. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, and I wasn't expecting it. You know, I didn't want to dance. I'm like, please don't let me dance. Like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, that
I
shirt
did
came
some
off,
like
and you were
something
like,
real quick. I'm like, all right.
yeah, it was powerful. We'll
Yeah.
get to sort of where the what this post Olympics world is like for you now, because it was a very massive thing that just took place, for the culture, and I imagine you've got all sorts of feelings about it now that are different from what you might
Yeah.
have been thinking about going into it.
Yeah.
But I remember
Definitely.
when we first met, you told me a really interesting story about your dad discovering that your dad and your uncle
Yeah.
used to dance in
Yeah.
Mexico.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, give me a little bit of that perspective of like what it was like to discover, oh, that they used to dance, and what it was
Yeah.
like for them.
So for us, like for me, my cousin and my brother, I remember my uncle and my dad, they exposed us to breaking. So we actually like I learned about breaking at the age of 6. And so basically at the age of 6 I was exposed to like breaking. My dad and my uncle, like they learned back in Mexico. And I remember they're just hanging out, drinking their beers, and it's like me, my cousin, and my brother just like playing around, you know, in the living room. And Beat Street pops up on the TV.
Iconic,
Yes, Beat Street
iconic,
pops up.
iconic movie about
And
breakdance, mainstream,
yeah,
like scripted movie about breakdancing in the '80s.
yes. And basically my dad was just like having his beer. He's like, yo, we used to do that back in the days. And we're like, what, for real? Like, y'all are lying. And he goes into his room, he gets his hoodie, my uncle too, and they start busting out head spins and windmills. And we're like, oh, like, wow, they really did used to do this. And it was just a spontaneous moment, you know, like we didn't plan on like watching breaking or learning breaking. It just happened naturally because my dad, you know, he's like, oh, Beat Street's on. We used to do this. And that's when we got exposed to it. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was just like doing whatever,
Right.
you know, just jumping around. And my cousin, he learned the windmills from my dad and my brother also. And from there, we did it for a little bit and just stopped and got back into it like 4 years later.
Right. When your cousin was
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
it in the room next door.
Yeah.
Powerful. I remember you telling me a story about your dad told you about like going to the next town or something for a battle.
Yeah, so they would tell us these stories about like them hitchhiking to go to like a festival to like battle another group of breakers, you know, from their city
In Mexico.
in Mexico, in Puebla. Yeah, so this was early 1980s.
Wow.
Yeah, early 1980s. Yeah. And the way they found out about breaking was because their cousin went to US. He brought back a VHS video, and in that VHS video they had, you know, B-boys and B-girls, and that's when they started.
It's incredible. Like when I hear that story about your father and your uncle discovering that from a VHS tape that a family member who went to the States brought back.
Yeah.
Mind blowing, right? Especially in the era that we live in now where everybody can just open their phone.
Yeah.
But then thinking about like I was there like as a kid growing up in that birth of it in and around New York City, and we had no idea. You didn't think at the beginning when you used to battle kids from other neighborhoods that one day like this is going to take over the world. And it's really grown in a way like I don't think people sometimes understand the size and scope of the way b-boy culture, like b-boys and b-girls, what was born in the 80s in and amongst the birth of hip-hop. Like that was one of the essential elements of hip-hop, right? It was graffiti writing,
DJing, MCing, breaking. That's it, right? And graffiti.
Yeah, the five elements.
Yeah.
Now when people think of hip-hop, it's they have no idea almost that no, these things used to all be, you couldn't see one without seeing the other. Now like people think of hip-hop and like dudes they don't even like think it's cool to to dance. And it's
exactly.
Like that's all we did.
Yeah.
When the music came on. You fall in love with breaking. You realize that this is something that is like has existed in your family, right?
Yeah.
And you're carrying this thing on. At what point do you realize in Kissimmee, Florida, that you have actually something to give to the point where like, yo, I could do this. Not just like I do this, but like I could, this may be what I do. Like what were your options?
At what point? I feel like as soon as I started like winning local events at the age of 14, that's when I'm like, oh wow, I'm pretty good, you know, because I was losing for such a long time. I started breaking at the age of 10. I started competing at the age of 13 because we didn't know there was a scene, a breaking scene. We thought like we were like the only breakers, you know, and we would go to teen nights and battle other breakers, and you know, we didn't know much about the scene. And
so teen nights would be like the
it was
underage, like cool.
It was like Beat Street,
Right.
like Beat Street. Like you go to like the roller skating rink and there's like a teen nights, everyone's dancing, and then you hear someone is another breaker. Like there's a breaker here.
Yo, there's another breaker here. Where's he from?
Yeah.
Let's go battle that dude.
And we start battling, and that's how we start meeting other breakers. And then from there, they're like, hey, there's an event going on, you know, here. It's this day. And we're like, okay, let's go. And yeah, for a while I was losing, but then I started understanding the formula of winning, you know, and I'm like, all right, there's a formula. And I started just like strategizing, you know, more and being smarter about my moves and what I'm gonna throw for each round.
What is that formula?
For me, everyone has a different formula, but I feel like my formula is you know, is improvising but also being structured. So I try to improvise 50%, but I also try to be structured 50%. And I have like my three signatures that I do in one round. And in between, that's when I try to, freestyle and just get into the music, and I try to mix those two together. And
Right.
sometimes it doesn't go the way you plan it to go, and that's okay. Sometimes that's even better, and you create those spontaneous moments. So for me, it's like improvising, but also being structured.
Uh, so now you've got the swagger. You've got your you understand sort of like how to win, and now you're starting to see results at a local level
Yeah.
at these events. Um, when did you realize like that there's an opportunity to take this out into the world?
I feel like when I won my first Red Bull event, so I entered the Red Bull BC1 Tampa Cipher, and this was the regional cipher. And yeah, I won that event, and that event got me into the national cipher, Red Bull BC1 National Cipher in Chicago. This was 2011, and I remember when I entered that event, no one knew about me. I was the underdog. I was going up against like a really well-known breaker at that time, and he was also up and coming, and I had him first round. And I remember he was talking smack. He's like,
Who's
"Oh
this
yeah, I
dude?
got this kid. Like,
Who's this dude?
yeah, yeah, literally like in my face. I was 17 years old, super shy in the back, and this dude is like, "Oh, this kid, easy."
Where
And he,
was this?
this was in Chicago,
Okay,
backstage. So this was like the night before the event.
is this your first time traveling to an event out of state?
Yes, no, I went to Atlanta, Georgia before that, but this was my second time on a flight.
On a plane?
Yeah, on a plane, my second time on a plane, and my first time traveling by myself. So it was me and one of my friends from Orlando. He was basically my chaperone, and we flew out to Chicago.
What an adventure, bro!
Yeah, it was fun. And I was 17 at the time. I was just like a young kid. I get there, I do the event, and I end up like beating the dude that that was talking smack first round. I somehow end up making it past the top eight. I make it past the semis. I'm like, what? I'm actually, I'm in the finals now, and I ended up losing in the finals. But that event, like that event is what blew me up in the breaking scene.
Right.
That event is the event that everyone caught eyes like, oh, who's this kid? And from then, that's when I started flying out to like all these other events internationally and just competing.
That kid from Kissimmee different.
Simi, yeah,
He's different,
yeah,
and you got to get a passport.
yes.
What was the first event that you went to in like now to go and overseas?
Yeah, so after the BC one, there's a lot of noise and it's like, oh, who's this kid Victor? I get back home. I get an email from a promoter from the Netherlands, and he's like, hey, I want to fly you out to my event. The event was called IBE, International Breaking Event, something like that.
And you know that this existed?
Yes,
Okay.
I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I used to watch like a lot of competitions from all over the world, like breaking competitions. And that event was the one I used to watch on YouTube. And I was like, wow, I would love to be there. Like that is one of the events that I would love to be. And I got the opportunity. The guy's like, hey, come to Amsterdam to this event. The event was like in 3 weeks. He's like, do you have a passport? I'm like, no, I don't have a passport. He's like, all right, I'm gonna trust that you're gonna get the passport. He got the flight for me, and yeah, my dad ended up paying for the passport. He didn't have the money. He didn't have the money, and he was way behind on rent. But he's like, nah, that. I want you to go. Like I see how much passion you have for this, and I see how bad you want it. So I'm gonna pay for your passport. He paid for the passport, and I got the passport like a day before my flight.
When you look back at that moment with your father now as a young adult
Yeah.
and understanding what money is and all of that. When you think about it from that perspective of him making that choice for you, what does that mean?
Now it means a lot, like just to support your kid. You know, you see how much he like how much passion he has for something, and he was there like 100%. Like, oh no, I see that you want it. I'm gonna support you, like no matter what.
Even when he didn't have it.
Yeah, even when he didn't have it, which was a really awesome thing to do because my like the other side of my family didn't want me to go. They're like, "You're not gonna go. You're staying in school." I was still in school and I was missing out a lot of days because I was traveling and going to all these different
You're
events.
17 at the time.
I'm 17, yeah,
Right.
and I was going to a lot of like local events and I was missing school and I was skipping school because wanted to go to Georgia, for this event. And you know, yeah, my mom, my brother, and a couple of my other like family members like, no, he's not going. He's staying in school. He's staying in school. This dream is nothing.
Yeah, it's
It's like,
fantasy.
yeah, it's like you're not gonna make money off of this. Like, why are you chasing this career? Like, go to school, stay safe. But my dad's like, no, I see how much you love this. I used to do this, and this is what makes you happy. Let's do it for you. Come on.
That sounds like like probably like the most pivotal moment. Like that's a life-changing moment.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And going to that event changed my whole perspective on just life. And it's like 17, traveling out the country by yourself. I only had $50 to my name, maybe less. I remember I only had like $40 to $50. I was in Amsterdam for like 4 days, 4 days. And I don't know, I remember landing at the airport and just like, wow, it's so different, so different. Like, wow, this is so cool. And then getting on the bus, going to this other city where the event's at, and just like meeting all these other breakers from all around the world. And like, wow, the like breaking scene in Europe is thriving. Like the support for breaking is awesome, and that just gave me even more motivation to like keep on doing this.
What was that experience like competitively?
So the event I did was called All versus All. So they had like Team USA, they had who else? Well, Team US, and then Team Europe, Team Asia. So they have like four big teams, and in those four big teams is just like 10 to 15 people, and it's like we're just all battling each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Has before the Olympics came along, which was a shock, right? Like
Yeah.
well, describe what that was like when suddenly this conversation is rumbling like, yo, they're gonna have us at the Olympics.
Yeah, so I remember when we first heard about it. This was in 2019. I won. Um, I forgot the name of the event. World Games. World Games in Budapest.
Mm-hmm.
I won that event, and I remember after that event, they're like, "Hey, like breaking might be in the Olympics," and we're like, "For real?" Like, all right. We didn't think much of it. 2020 comes around. COVID hits. We get the news that breaking is officially in the Olympics. Like, it's gonna be in the Paris 2024 Olympics, and for me, it was a total shock. But I didn't really care much because I never watched the Olympics. Like, the only Olympics I watched was in 2012. This was London. I was living in London at the time, and it was like on every TV screen. I was like in London during the 2012 Olympics, and the only person I knew was Usain Bolt, because he was so damn fast,
Right.
and he was like a superstar. And it's like, oh wow, that's cool, okay. And yeah, I didn't think like nothing much of it. I'm like, oh, Olympics, that's cool, all right, that's a new goal, because I already won BC1. I already won every event I wanted to win. I was bored of breaking. It's like, what do I do it all over again? It feels like a cycle, you know?
Would you say that but were you at a point where you were maybe contemplating something else?
Yeah, I just I just didn't have the same love for it.
Yeah.
You
You're doing it, but like
you're doing it for so long. This is what you do all day, every day. And yeah, just started getting more into biking, calisthenics, combat sports. But yeah, we found out about the Olympics and it was like a shock. It's like, oh wow, cool. All right.
new game,
Yeah.
new game.
Yeah, something new. Yeah, because it's like, yeah, yeah, like something new. Some
Mm.
like something that I can do, that I can achieve, you know?
The experience in Paris, as opposed to like,
Incredible.
what was it like?
One of the best experience ever in my life. And I remember I was just getting goosebumps the whole entire time just being there. I remember the opening ceremony. We were on the boat. Team USA had their own boat.
I seen you on the boat.
Yeah,
I,
we're
I
with
was like, I was like, I was like, yo, yo. I was like that Leo DiCaprio meme, like,
yeah. Yeah, no, it was awesome.
you're on the boat with LeBron and
Yeah, with LeBron, with Steph Curry, with all these other amazing athletes. And what I love most about it, yeah, it was raining. You know, the weather wasn't the best. Probably for the spectators, it wasn't the best either. They're just
Mm.
like sitting there waiting. But for us, it was awesome because like we're like on the boat, and I remember going through the bridge, and you see like a whole roll of people, just like people on the bridge, people on the side, and just roaring. They're just roaring for us, like, let's go. And just going like Team USA. And it's like, wow, these people are going crazy for us and they're appreciating our hard work. You know, like the work we put in to come here to make it into the Olympics. And that gave me goosebumps. I'm like, wow, this is amazing.
winning the medal, standing up there in that medal ceremony.
Yo, it was wild because I remember we watched the B girls the day before, you know, and I was hyped up. I'm like, all right, this is really cool. I'm ready. Our day comes, and it's like I was the first battle, and we're backstage, and I'm thinking to myself like, yo, this is really happening right now. Like this is the one. This is the event that we've been training for the past 3 years. That we've been stressing about, working hard, training, and just to get to this moment. And I get up on stage, we're there, and then all like I was the first battle, so me and my opponent had to stay on stage while all the other dancers leave. It's like, all right, it's game time, let's go. It was an awesome moment.
Yeah, well, it was an incredible performance, and you could see just the immense joy that you carried, knowing that like you did the thing. You know, there was the most unexpected outcome from breaking, and we have to talk about it. We have to talk about it
Yes,
because
please,
I need to
please.
talk about it with someone who can really put this in the
Yeah.
context.
Yeah.
The almighty Raygun.
The almighty Raygun. Hell no.
The almighty Raygun, who, listen, I don't know
Yeah.
this woman. I only know what I've saw and read. Very interesting story.
Yeah.
Made breakdancing perhaps talked about more than it ever has been on the planet in any way, shape, or form. What was that like? What has it been like to sort of on the back end of like this celebratory moment you just described, and then like, wait, what are we talking about here? I would love to get your perspective on it.
Yeah. So my perspective, I honestly thought she was the coach for Team Australia. And I remember I was there at the B girl battle. We already knew she was gonna lose. She was going up against three of the best in the world, and these three are potential medalists. And we didn't think much of it. Uh, I remember the day after, she like blew up. She's all over social media. We're like, all right, cool. It's gonna die down a bit because now the B boys are on.
Right,
And
they were first.
yes, and we're gonna bring it back.
Right.
Like they saw this, but they're gonna be excited by this. And yeah, we just got overshadowed by the Raygun thing, and that's how social media is. They just love getting the worst of the worst and blowing it up, and then they complain about why are these people famous. It's like you guys are the ones making them, go viral. And basically, I thought it was a good thing because they say like good publicity,
Bad
bad
publicity
publicity is
is
good.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but we just like had bad luck. Like we just got bad luck because I thought it was a good thing. I went on Sway. I'm like, oh no, there's gonna be way more people watching breaking now. They're gonna go to the Olympic channel and they're gonna rewatch breaking. And I'm like, yeah, a ton of more people are gonna watch it. I go back home and I remember I try to look for the Olympic footage for the breakers, and I went on the Olympic channel and they had every other sport except breaking. So breaking was out. So you couldn't even watch it. They only had it for one day.
Wow.
And it's like, what? And then I go online, I'm like trying to look for the footage. And all you see is the whole Raygun thing. And a couple, maybe Phil Wizard will pop up because he's the gold medalist.
Right.
Ami, but we're just like getting overshadowed, and it's like, oh man, we got bad luck. Like people can't even see the replay of the footage.
Right. To
You know?
actually see what went down.
Yeah, to actually see like the event. Like, oh man, that sucks. But then I did go onto YouTube. I went to like BC One, and there's people like a whole new audience. Like, oh wow, this is what breaking is. Like, honestly, like I came here because of Raygun to watch breaking, and I'm glad I did that.
Right.
So there are a couple people that did get exposed into breaking, but not much.
If do you,
It's like now we're doing damage control on, honestly.
right.
And even like before the Olympics, you would tell someone that you're a breaker, and it's like, oh, I used to do that back in the days from New York, and oh man, that's what's up, on the cardboard with the boom box, like, yo, that's so dope. Can you bust a move? And now you talk about breaking, and it's like Raygun is always in the back of their mind. It's like, did you see that girl?
You're like, yeah, that's not. She doesn't go. We don't go to the same school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it and I just remember being dumbfounded. Like, wait, how is this person on stage? And then I was like, well, I don't know everything about modern day breakdancing, but I know enough to know that like this person's not one of the best in the world. And she's probably not one of the best in her country, because I know that they got people who go off in Australia. Am I right?
They have a small scene. So I haven't been to.
Oh, that's right. It's the one place that you said you haven't been to.
Yeah. So I haven't been to Australia, but they have a pretty small scene. So the event that she won to get into the Olympics, there was only like 8 B girls that showed up, 7 to 8 B girls. And she did win it. But as I told you, like different judges, different outcomes. And sometimes it's your day, sometimes it's not your day. Like you can lose to anyone at any moment. So I can win a world championship event, but then like go to another event somewhere else and lose, first round or second round. And honestly, it was our federation's fault. So we try to tell them, and even them making her like number 1 ranked, it's like, guys.
Oh, you guys tried to tell them beforehand.
Well, us breakers did complain to them after they put her as the number 1 rank, because we thought it was a joke, but it ended up not being a joke. And like a bunch of breakers, especially the B girls, were like, what the heck is this? Like, are you serious? Not even the gold medalist is number 1, nor 2, 3. Like, what's going on? But Raygun's number 1, and it doesn't make sense. And they just ignored us.
Was it embarrassing?
For me, I didn't think much of it. Embarrassing watching her?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't remember watching her, to be honest.
Yeah.
I might have left. And then came back after.
For the I guess for the culture now, how does the culture move forward? It's like you said, bad luck, right? Here's this moment for like the world to like like, yo, we're here.
Yeah, we're here.
We're here from Beach Street. Like, we're here. Like, from here, it's going to be different. And then, wait, what?
and we're talking mass smack like, yo, tune into breaking. You're gonna have the best time ever. You're
You
gonna see
thought
the
we weren't.
most amazing moves in the world.
You
Like it's
thought we weren't supposed to
evolved.
be here.
And then this Raygun thing happened. It's like, oh man, come on.
Hmm.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
on like honestly, like we're just moving forward. We don't really pay too much attention to it. You know, we're there's like for me, I laugh some of the memes that the people created of her, and like I'm not like angry about it. You know, it's like, oh, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, it happened. What can we do about it? You know?
Move forward. When I saw you at that event in Venice, there wasn't a trace of Raygun. Like no
No.
one, like, people. The beach was packed with thousands of people who clearly were motivated by the conversation, and they got to witness the highest end
Yeah.
of what the culture has to offer. Where do you think things go from here? Because there is an energy. People, you know, like you said, bad press or not, from this crazy situation, um, people know who you are. They know that the culture exists. Where do you want to see it go? And what do you want to do moving forward? You've been doing this for 2 decades now. Like, what's
Yeah.
the next chapter look like for you, in being a part of what's coming?
Where I see I want it to go. Mm. To be honest, I had a lot of expectations after the Olympics. I wanted it, you know, I wanted more people to be involved in breaking, you know, more sponsorships. Because it is pretty tough. Like having breaking as a career is pretty tough. You have to be on top of your game at all times.
Mm.
You got to be like a really good competitor or sponsored by Red Bull, you know.
Which you are.
Yeah. Which helps. And I just hope that US, you know, there's a younger generation in the US that appreciates this art form. That's all I hope for, because the youth was gonna keep breaking alive. And I see that in Europe. I see that in Europe. I see that in Asia. I see it in South America. Like they appreciate it so much, and they have so much respect for the hip hop culture and the breaking culture, you know, but you don't really see that in US. It's thriving. Like breaking is thriving. There's more kids doing it, but not in US.
It's crazy. It was born here.
Yeah,
Was born
exactly.
here, was birthed here. All the elements, everything that you just described, that people have become drawn to from around the world, literally came from the gritty streets of New York City and across America.
Yeah, but the kids here, I feel like they see it as something that's corny. What you said, like, "Oh, you dancing?" Like, "Oh, why, like, like, why you doing this?" Yeah,
What's this next chapter of your life look like?
I've been um, I've been taking my time. You know, I've been taking time off. It's like let me steer away from dancing, from everything. Let me just enjoy myself for a bit. Uh, Let me
Recover a little
see.
bit.
Yeah,
And
yeah, recover.
yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming out today, man, and hearing your story. I think it's a really powerful story and an incredible journey, man. Like,
Thank you.
to think of where that cardboard and linoleum has taken you, and it'll be exciting to see where it takes you next, man. But
Yeah,
I know from what you've described and what you've put into your heart to live this lifestyle, that however you decide to apply those principles to anything else in life, I have no doubt, man. You're
yes.
just you will just continue to succeed.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you.
So grateful for you coming out, man.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man. Really, you should be immensely proud of your journey, man. And like I said, however else in whatever else direction you choose to take this, it's gonna be dope.